everyone, it's Andrea. Thank you so much for tuning in. Today, I'd like to talk to you briefly about how to get more business. That's what everybody wants. We want more business. And so I thought on it some, and these are some of the things that I came up with that will get you more business. It may not be overnight, but it will in turn get you more business. So for example, when you get a signing, I want you to look at as if you were the signing company, as if you owned that signing company and you were hiring the notaries. What would you look out for? What attributes would you want your notaries to possess? So some of those, obviously, you want your notary to be prompt. You want your notary to be on time, right? So there's that saying that to be on time is to be late, to be early is to be on time. We want to be early to an appointment, preferably about 10-15 minutes early. Anything over that, I typically call the signer and say, hey, I'm running a little bit early. Is it okay for me to stop by, or would you rather me stop by at our appointed time? You give them that option, but you definitely want to be at least 10 minutes early, okay? You want to dress professionally. You want to dress professionally. I can't tell you how many times notaries have showed up in tank tops, and I think I've even talked about this one. The notary that showed up to my mom's refinance was in a tank top and flip-flops. And I'm looking at her like, I'm trying to get into the business that you're in, and you're dressed like you're going to the beach. We want to be dressed professionally. Therefore, we're treated as a professional, because that's what we are. When we enter these people's homes, we are professionally doing work for them. So we want to be treated right, and we want to be dressed appropriately. You want to be nice. You want to be nice. You want to be professional. I know that when we're hanging out with our friends, we have a certain way that we speak, but when we are conducting business, we speak very professional, okay? And we want to communicate. Not only are we communicating with our signer by confirming the appointment, by just letting them know certain things, but we want to communicate with the signing service as well. So we want to let them know when we have confirmed the appointment. We want to let them know when, depending on what company you work for, when you have arrived to the company, to the signing location. We want to let the signing service know when the closing has completed, when the closing is done. And if you want to add some pizzazz to it, let them know when documents have been dropped, and even go so far as to send them a screenshot of the receipt proving that the documents have been dropped. We want to keep updating the portal or going into SnapDocs and leaving comments, letting them know that, hey, I've done my very, very best. And even going so far sometimes as to following up. Hey, by now you've received the documents. If you find that there are any issues, any errors with the documents, please let me know and I'll take care of it immediately. Otherwise, I hope that I have provided exceptional customer service for you, and hope to do business with you again. Please consider making me a preferred notary. I mean, communicate, okay? But first and foremost, you also want to check your work. You want to provide 0 errors. We all know that we're going to make errors. It's going to happen. Even a seasoned notary like me, I occasionally make errors. But we want to find our errors before the signing service or before title or lender or whomever find them. So you want to check your work. You're checking your work as the signing is taking place. You're checking your work at the very end of the signing. And then you're checking your work before you drop documents off the FedEx or UPS. So you've checked your work at least 3 times. Okay? So you just want to make sure that there are 0 errors, okay? And understand that you are making an impression. The most important signing is the one that you are currently at. It doesn't matter how much it costs, how much they're paying you. Doesn't matter how long that signing takes. That is the most important signing, because at the end of the day, you are making an impression to everybody. For example, the signers typically think that you work for the company. What company that is, it doesn't even matter. Because I've been asked, do you work for the attorney? Do you work for the lender? Do you work for title? Do you work for escrow? Like, they assume that we work for all of these entities. So we are, in essence, making an impression for all of the businesses that are associated with this transaction to that signer. And you wouldn't believe how many recommendations or referrals are given simply because the signers had a good experience with the notaries. Because oftentimes the signers, if they have had a very good experience, they will contact the lender and let them know that, hey, my notary was wonderful. If I ever do this again, please make sure she's my notary. I had one signer call me, and he wanted to know everybody that was associated with the transaction so that he could email them and let them know how good I was doing. So just know, and he didn't just want just the lender. He wanted everybody, the signing service, the title, like he wanted everybody. So yeah, I sent him that information, and I've received additional signings because of just his glowing review. So you're making an impression to everyone, and at the same time, you're making an impression to the signing service. So if you're updating the portal, if you're leaving comments or emailing them, letting them know, keeping them abreast of how things are going. Okay, I have confirmed the appointment, just wanted to let you know. The closing was successful. I'm dropping documents later this afternoon before cutoff time. Here's a receipt of the FedEx receipt showing proof that I communicate, and you're leaving an impression, a positive impression, each time you update them with how things are going with the closing. Okay? So just know that you're making an impression with everybody. Title, escrow, lender, signing service. Like, everyone can know who you are just by how great you're doing. Or they can know who you are because they don't want to work with you anymore. So just keep that in mind. Another thing that I found very, very useful is I have joined so many Facebook groups for notaries. And originally I did that because I was very, very new. But now I still do it. I was just joining some Facebook groups the other day. I am in over 20 different Facebook groups. And I don't say a whole lot. I just sit back and watch. And all day people are posting questions or they're sharing their mistakes. Old folks used to say a bought lesson is a taught lesson. And that means that you have paid the price for the lesson. I would much rather learn a lesson through somebody else's mistakes than for me to make the mistakes myself. So I sit back on the Facebook groups and I watch what they post, and when they make mistakes, I am learning from them. When new documents come out and they start talking about how to execute certain documents, I am learning from them. There are some documents that are very state specific. For example, the PCOR. I think that's a California document. People started posting in there. I've only had a PCOR, I think, twice. But because of what I learned in the Facebook groups, I knew how to maneuver around this document. That can be difficult. So just keep that in mind. Now, additional training, like for example, the LSS training that I had also went over the PCOR, but I didn't get that training until I had already started. By the time I had the training, I already knew what a PCOR was and how to execute it, okay? Execute it. Anyway, so just get into Facebook groups and try to learn as much as you can. Like I said, I don't say a whole lot, but I do listen, and I listen very well. And then the next thing, be confident. I know we walk into these closings, especially in the very, very beginning, and not know what we're doing at all. My very first closing, I had 3 people in front of me, and they didn't have a clue that I was scared to death. Scared to death. Did not know what I was doing, but they had absolutely no clue. And so I came across as being very confident, like I had done this many, many times before. And so once they see your confidence and they feel good about the situation, their guard is, I don't want to say that. I was about to say their guard is down, but I don't want it to seem like we're manipulating them. But they're less likely to ask you questions. They're less likely to get all involved in this. They already know or should know the meat and potatoes of the closing. They should know certain things like how much their monthly payment is, their interest rate, things of that nature, and you're just reiterating what they should already know. So yes, be confident. Be confident. When I first started, like I've said in some of my other videos, I didn't know anything about this world at all. I didn't know what a refinance was, home equity line of credit. What is that? Had no idea. But I didn't let that stop me. I did not let that stop me. The other thing I want people to know is if you never start, you won't know how to maneuver around certain situations. So there are probably about 10 to 15 questions that are typically on average asked of a notary. If you never start, you don't know how to answer those 10 to 15 questions. And the other thing is, if you never start, you won't know how to answer those questions before they're even asked of you. So start. Therefore, you start making your way through. You feel like, just start. Is all I'm saying. Just start. And then, last but not least, do not let fear stifle your success. If you let that fear take over, then you won't be successful, because you've already put in your mind that you were going to fail at this. So do not let your fear stifle your success. Just keep going. Keep going. All right. So hopefully this video helped somebody. Please like and subscribe, and I will talk to you all later.